good day, guys.
How are you?
ROMEOs,
Hey.
looking good.
Dominic?
Always.
Excellent. Life is good.
Pat? We never ask Pat. Pat always asks us, but we never ask Pat. Pat,
It's 'cause
Aki-
how are you
Aki,
doing,
you're-
Pat?
It's because we just don't care.
You're so considerate.
We're starting off with a bang, aren't we? With a real big bang.
Sorry,
but
Pat.
yeah, you interrupted him.
Well, I think to be fair, Dominic asks everyone, and nobody answers because they speak over him.
Correct.
Oh,
And you always answer.
And I do, or I try. And now, Aki, you're considerate enough to ask. So I will answer your question and say,
Who cares? Oh,
in the company of you three fine gentlemen, how could I not be doing well?
wonderful.
There you
Wow.
go.
On that wonderful turn, we should also thank everyone for joining us, for liking and for subscribing. Thank you very much. We're going gangbusters here. So what are we talking about?
I thought it'd be interesting for us to talk about nationalism.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Aki?
oh, let's go for it.
Yeah. I think
Aki, you want to get us started and define nationalism?
Well, nationalism, of course, the simple definition is pride and loyalty to your nation, to your homeland, which can be defined a little bit differently, but essentially that's it. The problem, though, is that taken too far and supported by extreme ideology, we've seen the results of it. It can turn into a monster that brings misery and wreaks a lot of havoc in the world.
so what's that line, though?
So what's that line, right? So Charles de Gaulle had a good line for nationalism, and he said,
Vive le Québec.
he said actually there's nationalism and there's patriotism. It's an interesting dichotomy. So he said basically that patriotism is the love of your own people first. Okay. Nationalism is hatred of all people other than your own first.
Wow. That's quite...
So there's an interesting mix. I think patriotism is absolutely legitimate.
But nationalism can be dangerous.
Nationalism taken to that extreme level, I think we've seen the results of it, and I'm very concerned about it.
Do you care to give us a few examples?
Well, of course, I mean, the most obvious example is fascism and the Nazis, and to some extent, you see the historic record. You see,
But how about now?
Right, I'm getting to that. But the extreme nationalist movements in our history, being the Soviet Union, communism, being the Nazis and the fascists, and we've seen the millions of lives that have been lost because of what these ideologies have done to the world.
Okay.
And it's always the real red flag is, of course, you have a strong man, a strong leader, an authoritarian personality that is always fanning the flames.
What are you getting at?
Which brings us to today, and I think we see certainly signs of that in Trump's America.
So do you think we've reached an inflection point where America is concerned? Because
Yes.
you made the distinction between patriotism and nationalism.
Yeah, which was quite...
Do you think this is an inflection point for America?
I think so.
So people...
and consequently for the rest of the world?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So do you think there's a conflation between the patriots or people who think they're patriots and
Yes.
the nationalism
Yes.
or hatred of others
Yes.
that's coming through in
Yes.
the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay, so I could see that from one perspective. Now, I'd like to put a juxtaposition, if I may, of the stuff that's happening in Europe with respect to the migration and the migrants and the refugees that have flooded certain European countries.
Yeah.
And then the patriotism or nationalism that's now being shown by those countries who are saying enough is enough because our way of life is being threatened by the mentality and the actions of the people that we've let into our country. And how is that kind of informing the actions of the U.S. at this point with migrants and
Right.
and immigrants into their country?
So, Nuran, that's the way you described it. That's what the nationalist argument will be.
Right.
The nationalist argument starts from a place of these are dangerous people. These are all criminals. This is the Trump line.
No, hang on. Let's not take it to the
Okay.
hyperbolic
Okay,
sense.
but that's
let's step
the
it back a
hyperbolic.
little bit.
That's mainstream.
No, I know,
in the far right.
But there's actual.
But there's
crime.
legitimate.
There's legitimate.
There's legitimate concerns, legitimate conversations to have.
Right,
And as a country, of course, a country is responsible for its borders and has to have control over its borders.
So how do you balance that? What you just said.
You balance it. You balance it. First of all, by having the rule of law. And there is,
Okay.
and for refugee, asylum claimants, there is a process according to law, according to the international treaty, the UN Convention on Refugees, that everybody is signed on how you're supposed to manage these people and what your obligations are and what their obligations are.
Right.
That's
So
clearly spelled out.
But Charles de Gaulle's definition of nationalism is not good. Because hatred for other people, that's not it. That's terrorism, when you hate everybody else.
Well, extreme nationalism and terrorism.
No, nationalism is because you care about your country.
Patriotism is we care about your country. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, okay.
So,
I'm
yeah,
listening.
there is similarity there, but to me, nationalism has got nothing to do with hatred of other people. You love your nation, and you want the best for your nation. And people are coming in and contradicting that. That's when you start hating them.
Or, well, again, so
Because they don't
I
want to
can't get into
accept our
everyone's
values.
psyche, but you have to question the degree to which individuals are predisposed to think about others in a certain way. And then they look for every opportunity to justify their belief system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not suggesting for a moment that anyone should ignore, hardcore evidence of individuals who are engaging in either criminal or terrorist type of activities. Of course not. But I wanted to bring it back to something else because you were talking about Europe a moment ago, Naren. And I think that we may see at least as strong, if not stronger, evidence of this growing nationalistic tendency in Europe than anywhere else
Well, what choice do
in
they
the
have?
world.
Well, it's a reaction, though.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
okay, perfect. A reaction to what?
A reaction to the migration that they allowed, which has caused
I am-
turmoil in their own society.
Okay, let's
They have not
talk-
allowed it.
Let's talk about the turmoil.
It's happened. It's not that they've allowed
Well, no,
Well,
they-
Angela
they've-
Merkel
they've
allowed it.
They've
Well,
allowed
Merkel
it.
maybe, but not Italy.
Well, to some degree, yes.
Yeah.
It becomes a question of degree.
Yeah.
All European countries,
Yeah.
like Canada, or in North America, Canada, the U.S., the problems they're dealing with are to a large extent self-induced.
So, yeah.
So I want to come back to, I understand that migration or immigration is at the core of it, but what specifically are people reacting to so strongly?
Well, they're reacting to the crime rates. They're reacting to the way that certain people have been ghettoized. So the beautiful thing about migration and immigration is if you have it at a pace that you can assimilate the people that are coming in, such that, okay, the first generation is going to be more or less old-fashioned, but the second generation is going to be more or less acclimated, and by the third
don't believe
generation,
that.
they become,
Absolutely.
believe
complete
it.
So
citizens.
now you're touching on what I'm trying to get to
Okay.
in a somewhat indirect way.
Okay, I'm glad I'm touching it, but what am
You're touching it. You're touching it.
What am I touching?
Censor
So
time.
let's
touching
stick with that point
Okay.
because you talk about assimilation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the rate at which you allow immigrants into the country
Right.
will have an impact.
Absolutely.
What else will have an impact?
Well, your policies of
Not only your policies, the desire on the part of the people coming into your country
To integrate.
Absolutely.
and assimilate.
And if you have ghettos,
This is where I believe we are, for the first time in history, seeing a significant difference in the impact of immigration policies. I wasn't going to focus so much on Europe, but I would say on North America. Because North America essentially was created over the course of the last
through immigration.
few centuries on immigration, based on
Absolutely.
immigration.
Absolutely. Mostly European immigration.
But
Christian European immigration.
immigrants
African slaves.
who looked for
Well,
Christian.
They were Christian.
I don't think so, but nice
Christian
try.
African slaves.
Nice try.
Sorry.
Nice try. Sorry.
They looked for a sense of common purpose.
Yes.
They looked for similarities in spite of their differences in order to unite as one people.
Yeah.
Fast forward to recent years, I don't think that the people who are immigrating to Western Europe and to North America have any desire, any strong desire to assimilate.
Totally agree.
But what do you base that on?
Quite to the
Totally agree.
contrary.
What do you base it on?
Quite to the contrary.
We see it.
And so,
What do you see?
so what I believe people are reacting to, because immigration is an easy answer. I think that the criminal activity is a convenient excuse for people justifying their nationalistic
Yes. That I agree.
beliefs.
You know why?
I think at the core, it's the fact that they feel that their culture is threatened.
Okay. So let me.
So let's.
But you know what?
So
Pat?
hang on.
The reason why you say that is because if you say what you just said, you're a racist.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
bullshit.
how about the Italians and the Irish who came in
We had
in
a-
the 40s, 50s, 60s? Let's say 50s and 60s, right? They were white, they were Christian, but they were
Discriminated against.
But they were also scum.
Yeah.
Right? Because you were Italian or you were
Marginalized.
Irish.
Absolutely.
Right? So it took years, and I can't believe I'm taking this side of the argument, but it took years for these white Christian folk to be assimilated,
So,
right?
so I could not agree with you more.
Okay.
I could not. I will make a distinction.
Yeah.
I believe that those people, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of the fact that they wanted and were successful in preserving some elements of their culture
Of course.
in their new homeland,
Gabagool.
looked for a sense of common purpose. They looked
Exactly.
for what they had in common
Yes.
with their fellow man,
Yes.
and they rallied around that. And ultimately, over time, whether it took a generation or two, learned to respect and abide by the rule of law in their new homeland.
So
I don't.
The mafia,
Those are my.
the Irish mafia.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That exists. Listen,
Yeah.
right.
there are elements of criminal activity, organized
The
criminal
Jewish ghettos.
activity everywhere
The
in the
little
world.
fraction,
Everywhere.
fraction.
That's never going to change.
Okay.
So this is very important.
I'm talking about the hordes of immigrants.
Exactly.
Okay, what percentage of the population is captured in the mafia or organized criminal activity? It's small.
So Pat.
Very small.
So Pat.
Let me just finish my thought. I believe that the big difference is that perhaps for the first time, the majority of the people who are immigrating to North America and Western Europe fundamentally have no desire to truly
Because
assimilate.
most of them are coming from Muslim
Okay,
countries.
so absolutely, you have absolutely no basis for,
Oh,
for,
yes.
for reaching that conclusion. There's another piece to this, okay? And if you look at Europe, let's look at, with their policies towards their new arrivals and their immigration. France was one of the worst. Just ghettoized them. No opportunity really to integrate, already labeled them and shuffled them off into ghettos. No
Hang
opportunity.
on. Shuffle. No. Wait.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me
No.
finish.
I'm sorry.
Let me finish. No, I'm going to finish. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought.
Nobody shuffles anyone into ghettos.
Look at
People
the youth.
go-
Naran,
Look at the youth.
let him finish. and
Look
then
at the
you
youth.
can-
Look at the youth. Look at immigrant youth. The stories in France of the kind of unemployment. The kind of absolute social disarray that you find.
So
in
why
these
did they let
places.
them in? If there's no place for them to go.
Exactly.
Because first of all, immigration is still a legitimate operation
For refugees?
all advanced countries,
For asylum seekers?
and asylum seekers as well is very legitimate. Again,
No,
there's
it's not.
the UN. There's a UN convention. It's very
but how
it's very
much-
easy to just
Yeah, but
toss it out
Aki,
the window. That's
Aki,
the international law.
As a country, if you see that you can't assimilate these folks and you're putting them into ghettos and this is happening
back.
with youth
Absolutely.
unemployment,
I agree.
Don't you then say, hey,
I
let's
agree.
Send them
stop
back.
this?
I agree. But you don't. But unfortunately, what happens is a lot of emotion and a lot of extreme nationalism that comes into
Yes.
play that already draws the conclusion it's a lost cause, and therefore let's just shut our borders because it's about just staying monolithic and being not open to any sort of diversity.
Let's try and take the emotion out of it for a second, and let's just be really cold-hearted and look at the facts. If you, as a country, you see that your immigration policy is not working, that you can't assimilate those folks, that it's turning into ghettos because people want to be with other people like them, whether they speak the same language, have the same background, whether it be religious, whether it be ethnic, whether it be language or linguistic, they want to be amongst their own. It was the same for any group of people. I'm Armenian. When we came to Montreal in the 60s, we wanted to be with other Armenians so we could have the same language and the same culture and the same food.
Greeks,
you're Greek, Italian,
Portuguese, Jews,
same
everyone,
chemistry.
Everyone
was like that.
Yeah.
So it's normal for the people to do this.
Right.
However,
okay.
In spite of those people's desires to live within communities of their own,
they still worked hard and they didn't suck on the teat of the governments.
There you go.
Is what you're getting at.
And respected the rule of law.
Yes, exactly.
And looked for a sense of common purpose.
So peace. So I agree with all of those things. So again, let's be cold-hearted. Let's just look at facts.
I'm listening.
If the people that come in are exactly what Pat described. If they're hardworking people, they just want to be left alone. They want to follow the rules. They don't want to rape young women and spit at them because they're showing their cleavage. If the mentality is correct, then life is good. Okay, because through generations, those people are going to assimilate because they're following the rules and they're living in this new country as a new country. I come to this country because I want to change. I want something new. I was oppressed where I was, and now I want some freedom. That's the mentality in the old days.
They were not oppressed.
In the old days, I'm saying. Now, with what's happening today, governments have to take a look at what's happening and figure out how to fix the issues because people are not assimilating. And a lot of it, unfortunately, has to do with religion. Okay? And I think, and that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
And let's not beat around the bush. Most of this thing has to do with Islamophobia and the fact that some, not all, not the majority,
Thank you,
but some are fucked up.
Yes.
Some people are fucked up backwards, where a woman can't show her face, she can't show her cleavage, she can't show her ass.
They can't go to school.
In Western civilization, this is not acceptable.
No.
So if you come with this mentality into a Western civilization and want to keep this mentality, then you do not belong.
You agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Again, being cold-hearted.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's all
Yes.
of them. It's very small percentage.
Again, but
they fuck it up for everyone else.
You agree with the rules, burqa and everything.
The rules. One second.
Yeah.
Okay. The rules. There are rules in place, and I always harp on this. The United Nations Convention on Refugees addresses these, and just as there's obligations on both sides. There's obligations on the host, and there's also obligations on the claimant. And the claimant, it's very clearly specified in the convention. You have to abide by the laws. You have to, take your place in the society in a responsible way. Hold it a second. Okay, this is the problem. I don't know. I suspect, and maybe it's because of my political point of view and my particular ideology. This idea that quickly to assume that the vast majority of these claimants...
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that. I'm not saying that.
I did not say that.
But out there, and I think Dominic is saying that, the majority of these people they're not coming here with goodwill. The majority.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you're saying. I'm just saying, but that's the talk.
So let's stop the rhetoric.
There.
Let's stop the hyperbole.
Right.
Let's talk about facts.
So let's talk. Let's
How do you
continue
deal with the small percentage that are fucking it up for everyone else?
Okay.
How do you deal with that?
You deal them with the laws that you have, on your books, and you have the laws, you have the tools at your disposal as a government and as a society to address this.
But doesn't that mean that your assimilation, that your way of assimilating these folks is not working properly? Don't you have to look internally as a country into your own processes to make sure that you have a better process to internalize these people?
Dominic, Nuran, I think that this goes with the territory. In every wave of immigration, we talked about the historic waves.
You're right.
We talk about the mobsters.
I brought it up.
We talk about the criminals, the ghettos. We talk about that.
Yes.
You have that. It's part of this, unfortunately.
So
as a society,
how do you deal with it?
You apply your laws, and you make sure that you are on top of this.
But you're against laws of forbidding hijabs and burqas and everything, right? You're against those laws.
I'm not. I don't want to have any face covering in society. That's
So
my
burqa.
Burqa is the full.
Is the full one,
Well, no,
yeah.
of course I'm. That's covering. That's a tent, for God's sake.
It's a tent. Yeah.
You know, of course that has no place in our society. The other thing is, let's
So you're
also.
okay with hijabs?
Aki, you're
Yeah.
so intolerant.
It's true. It's so true.
Oh, I hope we get a lot of viewers to watch this one. That one is a classic Romeo
Okay.
statement.
So if we step it back once again,
Yeah.
we have a problem. The problem is there's a percentage of newcomers, and again,
Yeah.
it's because of it's also the overtones of the religion, and some of the people who follow the religion are folks that don't want women to be educated, that want women to be covered, that it's very patriarchal in society.
Yes.
It's homophobic.
Okay.
There's all sorts of
But can
things
we-
that don't gel well with a Western society.
So you've left out one which I think may be the most important of all,
Oh,
and that's respect for the rule of law
yes.
Absolutely,
in their new home country.
absolutely.
They don't apply to them.
Who did that? Where do you say? Okay,
You see it all over.
okay. So first of all, the point is there is an orientation. I believe we have an orientation in our system, right? I'm just taking an example of Canada because I know from our experience, it's very hard now for an immigrant to come to Canada. I can tell you stories of families.
How about
family
refugee
reunification,
Yeah, exactly.
and refugee claimants. And if you look at the percentage of when they go to the tribunal,
Why did it get
the
here,
majority are rejected.
Right, because
okay?
we got to a point where
Then
we said enough
but-
Then
as a
we
country.
stuck over there.
but also there's and I believe in
fair.
this human nature. Human nature is if my family, if I'm a father of two and I'm in Honduras and my neighborhood is overrun by gangs, if I'm in Haiti and my family's in a war zone, isn't it as a human being, and am I not justified to try and save my family and leave?
You can, yes, and the country that you're going to is also justified in saying, "Well, hang on, we have too many already."
Okay, but that person, yes, we all have caps. We all have caps.
Yeah, but they're not being respected.
But can we at least agree? Can we let's at the human level? Can we agree that
Aki,
most people?
I agree with you. I
Thank
agree with you. At a human level, you are correct. We, as a human society on the globe, should take care of our own.
No,
Basically, we should all. However, there's a certain amount that can physically be taken care of.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
The problem. So let's get to the crux of the problem. The problem is that too much has happened too quickly in too many countries.
Okay.
That is the crux of the problem.
Okay, so I
we
don't want to
can
spend
fix
I don't
this.
want to spend the entire time we have strictly on immigration and refugees.
But it
I
leads
want-
to nationalism.
So let's bring it. Yeah, of course.
back to
So I
that.
want to come back
The
to
main topic.
nationalism.
yeah,
And this is
And say,
exactly
is nationalism
is rising
a
because
good,
of
a good
this.
thing
Yes.
or a bad thing?
I think it's very good.
So it's a good thing if it allows proper policies to come back to a steady state, which is good for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Sorry,
again,
everyone being.
everyone being the people that are in the country and newcomers into the country.
So
the reality
That's
is
the goal.
The reality is we all want a society where we could live in peace, where we can walk outside at night, where you could be a woman at 3:00 in the morning walking down the street and not be afraid of being raped or assaulted or killed.
Correct.
Okay, whether you're a man or a woman. Okay, or whether you're a gay man,
Regardless, any human being.
any human being, right? We all want to be safe.
Okay.
Now, if the policies of the country are such that too many migrants were allowed and the mindset of the migrants were not the proper ones and they weren't well assimilated and now crime has shot
Weren't
up
well
and whatever,
vetted.
well, all of a sudden there's going to be nationalism that says, you know what, secure the borders. Hey, Trump,
But there's one problem.
this
Oh,
happened.
hold on. So Dominic, you also said good thing.
Yeah.
Can
I
you
think it's good.
tell us why you think?
Well,
it's
I think being proud of where you live, where you were born, is
you may not have been born there.
correct. In that case, I was. So there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. If it
So you
goes
want to be a bunch of Proud Boys.
No, if you want to go to extremes, yeah, extremes are never good.
Okay.
So what would an extreme be?
Well, I mean, I believe in immigration. I don't believe in migration. I think illegals they show up, we should send them back immediately. Okay, because the UN Convention wasn't for financial reasons. It was for people that were persecuted or whatever. Now,
Correct.
it's everybody.
So you guys can agree to that.
Persecuted and endangered. Their lives are in danger.
Yes.
Okay, but this is not the case here. So people are coming here because they can't take it up the ass in their country. Here they can. Oh, we've seen that on TV. Oh, well, I cannot be gay back in my country. Over here I can.
Well, you don't think gays are being persecuted in Iran?
Oh, fuck. He chooses Iran of all the places.
Gays are not being persecuted in Hungary?
I don't think they're being persecuted.
Okay.
You just have to do it in hiding.
But if they were, let's say,
That's not my
for
fucking
argument's
problem.
sake, for argument's sake, if they're living in a society where they're being discriminated against legally and they have no opportunities and they're being suppressed, do they have the right to leave?
No, they have the right to leave, but
So hold
not
on.
illegally come into
Hold
the
on,
country.
Dominic, if you can just hold your thought for one moment.
Yeah.
So, Aki, is it fair to say that not that long ago, from a historical perspective, gays were not welcome members of society?
Absolutely.
In North America?
In Canada and every society.
Right.
Absolutely.
How did that change? How did that situation change? How did it evolve to the point where today the majority of gay people, I think, are free to live their best lives?
Exactly.
Civil, again, in a democracy where people have an opportunity to organize, assemble, civil rights, fight for civil rights.
Okay.
And fight
But
the
it
fight.
took time.
But it took time.
Yeah, but they don't want to do it in their
So
country.
what prevents people in other countries
Yeah.
from doing the same?
Well,
From
come
having
on.
that fight.
Come on,
From
Pat.
fight. That's a
Because
good
it's easier
point.
to come
That's a good-
here.
That's actually
In Iran,
Because it's easier to come here.
what are the possibilities of any sort of a demonstration for human rights in Iran? Come on, guys.
It's possible, and
No, it's
it's going
not.
to take sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me
Because
the
they don't want to
the gays
sacrifice.
here did not
Bloodshed.
sacrifice.
Exactly.
Look at the AIDS epidemic that
But
happened, where they didn't give a shit about the
but
gays that
there
were
was,
dying.
There was an opening here, which is a democratic system, a rule of law, courts.
Okay, but
You don't
things
have
can-
that in these countries.
But you can change.
You're a prisoner.
You can change.
Well, okay, that's fine, but it doesn't work that
Remember
way.
the Arab
Yeah.
Spring at the
Yeah.
time?
Yes, and it was,
Right?
it was, yeah, and it all
Yeah,
went to
well, these
shit.
things-
It all went to shit. Remember
Yes,
the
well,
uprisings in Iran?
These things can happen.
But they don't. But they're suppressed.
Okay.
They're always oppressed.
Guys, okay.
People have life to live.
We're
Okay, but-
focusing
but-
on a small proportion
But
of
Aki,
people that are coming here.
if nobody
Yeah.
remains in a country where they may feel discriminated against, oppressed, whatever, to fight the good fight,
How are things ever
how
going
are
to
things
change?
ever going to change?
I know, but guys, but you can apply that argument to the Jews in Nazi Germany.
Yes.
It was you could say the Nazi Germany. This was like a first tier power, a civilized country. Why do Jews have to flee? Jews should stay there. Should fight Hitler. Should overthrow Hitler.
That's a really good argument.
It's not the way nature works and society works. Unfortunately,
we're focusing in on a very small portion of
Wait a
people that are
second.
coming
Wait
in.
We're talking about people that were being killed. To a guy getting
what do you think they're doing in Iran's prisons?
Come on.
Or
Come on.
Guys, we're focused.
Don't compare Jews to gays.
Let's stop focusing on one minute portion of migrants.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
But-
sorry,
okay.
but this is not.
Right.
This is
So
not
the
the
same thing-
problem.
we did the same thing with
hang on.
Muslims.
The problem people coming. The problem. Of migration isn't because of gays migrating. I don't think they're the ones that
No,
are
no,
causing.
but-
I don't think
No,
they're
no,
causing.
it's an example.
They're
I
not
think
raping
it was
women.
used. It was used as an example.
I know, but
of
come on.
anyone who uses the argument that they're being
Persecution.
discriminated
Yes.
against or
Exactly.
persecuted
Yes, I get it.
as an entry card.
That's it.
I get it.
Enough is that.
But this is not the example we should be harping on,
No.
guys. The problem that we
But
have
even in
are
financial, even for economic reasons.
economic reasons. I
That's-
agree
that's not
is a
good
bullshit
reason.
reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So economic, I agree. 100%.
We agree.
But,
Economic
On
is
persecution, okay,
But
we're,
that's
we're overlapping a little
that's
bit, but
99.9% of the migrants.
okay.
well, if
no, it's
that,
not.
So
It is.
Not at all.
So guys,
Not at all.
again, if let's all agree that nationalism allows a country to enact laws that are going to help the country figure out how best to get the immigration level that they need, where they can assimilate the folks, bring them in, teach them the language, make sure there's an education system for their kids, make sure there's some social safety net in the beginning
Yeah.
to help them get their feet around them and get into their jobs that they
Mentorship.
need. All of that stuff, that all needs to be done. And if you don't have that mechanism in place, for the amount of people that are coming in, the system breaks. And what we've seen in a lot of European countries is that the system has broken. What we saw in Canada is that the system has broken. Okay?
I don't think it's broken in Canada.
Hang on.
Really?
No. Wait. Let's not debate that one point. Let's leave that aside for now. Okay. In the U.S., we've got an immigration policy that was informed by all the stuff that's happened in the world around, and by someone who said, you know what, not on my watch, not here. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the policies, the reason those policies have come about is because he's opened his eyes, Trump, and he's looked around the world at what's happened with respect to migration, and he said, you know what, I'm not going to let this happen in my country. Now, whether you...
That's not what he's saying.
Whether you agree or disagree with his policies, the reason has been others have failed, and he does not want the U.S. to fail in their migration. He wants to secure his borders. And right now, he's looking at kicking people out because of what happened with one person from Afghanistan who killed a National Guards woman.
Right. A person, by the way, who was also working with the CIA, so he was
who
an
was,
ally.
but doesn't. Yeah, he was, but now he decides to kill someone.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now he's looking at green cards. He's looking at all sorts of things to get. Again, this is a backlash and it's a reaction.
It is.
But it is nationalistic. So do we agree with it or not?
I'll tell you.
Hang on. I'm asking the question around this table.
Okay.
So I will say, in theory, yes.
So I agree with it.
In theory.
Three of us agree with it. Why don't you disagree with it?
Because that's not his starting point. Because his starting point, it's the worst type of nationalism. It's racism. It's saying these are people who are criminals, who have escaped from mental institutions. That's his starting point. Nothing to do with policy and good reason.
Okay, Aki,
it's about emotional racism.
Can you distinguish between theory?
He agrees with me.
Can you distinguish between theory and practice?
I'm just listening. I'm open to your comment.
As I am to yours.
Okay. So
hold on. Can you answer my question?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Well, okay. Can you distinguish between theory and practice?
Of course.
Okay. Because Nuran just asked whether we agree or not to what I consider to be a theory.
Yes.
And
I agree to the theory.
And you responded with a practical answer.
Correct. Because he gave the practical example. We're not talking about theory when he brings in Trump and talks about Trump's approach.
He talked about the theory.
I agree with the theory. Nuran, I agree with the theory. I'm just saying in the case of Trump, this is what goes to the heart of what we're talking about.
Let's put Trump aside for a moment.
Okay.
Because there's another question.
Yes, the theory I agree with.
And it's not strictly a Trump issue, by the way.
You're right. I agree with the theory,
You talked about Western Europe earlier and the French. And at the core, I think the risk with nationalism, because we talked about where it can be positive, the biggest risk with nationalism is where it crosses the line into racism.
Yeah, which is what you just said.
Which is what I'm saying. Yeah.
And it's not just a Trump issue. That's true everywhere.
Yeah.
The risk exists everywhere. Yeah.
But if you can be cold-hearted...
And the French aren't racist at the root?
Yes, they are.
Everyone is racist at the root. I'm sorry, but everyone to a point...
We've had this conversation before, and by and large, I agree with you. I believe the majority of people,
we all agree.
The majority are racist.
We all agree.
Yeah.
We all agree.
But again, as long as it's a little bit because you're wrapping your arms around your people, right? Your family is more important to you than anyone else.
The thing is that if you have a grain of racism within you,
yes,
then it doesn't become all that difficult.
Yeah, to expand it. Yes, I get it.
Okay.
I understand your point.
And people are masterful at that.
That makes sense because we like individuals, not necessarily groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know.
So guys, when we get back to policy, nationalistic policy, when done correctly, is good for the nation by definition.
When done correctly, under the rule of law, I have no problem.
Everything is under the rule of law.
Who says what's correct?
I say what they're doing is not rule of law.
Sorry?
Who assesses what's correct and what's not?
The majority.
The courts.
The majority.
You know what? We do, because we're Romeos, and we have our opinions.
That answer I like.
I like that answer.
Here's the issue I have with the majority.
I do.
The majority is largely responsible for electing officials in a democratic process.
Oh, stop it.
Where once the election is over, you pretty much lose
Pat,
the bulk of your influence.
Pat, in Canada, we're able to elect a prime minister
stop it.
with 27%.
Stop it. In most first by the post systems, you have proportions like that. Stop it. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
you're saying.
see, 'cause
That's democracy.
No,
Let's
that's
reform
not
it.
democracy.
Yes, it is.
That's your
Anyway, that's not the
definition.
topic. That's not the topic.
That's your definition
That's not
of
the topic.
democracy.
That's not the topic. Even
So
Canada.
you are correct.
Yeah. The-
However, those who are elected garnered more votes than those who didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
not combined. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
but they're not combined. It's fragmented.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
First by the
Because
post.
to me, democracy is not what
But this is not our topic,
It's
guys.
not what
Well,
it
but
is.
there is no perfect system.
Yeah,
Dominic,
thank you.
in the U.S., a president.
Thank you.
It's
Electoral college.
largely it's a two-horse race in the U.S. for the presidency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can be elected even though the person you're competing with
Got
has
more
more
votes.
votes than you did.
Exactly.
Wow.
Which has happened
Not
before.
that many.
Which I think
Not that many.
didn't.
Quite a few.
Yeah, they have the electoral college,
Yeah.
and you can win
So
through the
in
electoral
2016,
college.
all I'm pointing out
Clinton
is that
had more popular
every
votes than
system
Trump.
has its flaws. Everyone.
Thank you.
So, guys,
that's not the point.
let's
though.
come back to nationalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
We need
we
more.
all
So I wanted to you talk when implemented correctly.
correctly.
I-
Exactly.
Who determines what is correct and what isn't?
Well, to me, it's common sense and morality.
Common sense ain't that common.
Well, morality comes into play.
The law, the rule of law.
Well, the rule of law can be changed because lawmakers can change
Okay.
the laws.
Yes, of course, as it should be.
And we have notwithstanding clauses in
Oh,
Canada.
okay,
and all
stop it,
sorts
stop it. Okay.
I'm sorry, but that's a bullshit
It is.
way to trample
Right.
on other people's rights.
Try
hang on.
to
100%.
keep a confederation together.
Aki, I know you love this country and you are a patriot. Okay?
Oh, Canada.
But I'm nationalistic.
No, but you're. I know kind of nationalist you are, and
And I like to be fair.
Exactly.
I am a very fair
Exactly.
individual. So I'm answering his question.
Exactly.
As long as you have a certain amount of morality, which I think I do, and you have a certain amount of balance and fairness, and the thought of, or the rule of law, as he says, then you can actually make some decent choices. Okay? The problem is when governments have made fucked up choices and have screwed up in the
They have
past.
screwed up.
And there's a pendulum effect, unfortunately, with human
Yes,
beings.
correct.
And that pendulum effect is what makes Dominic say what he does, because he's fed up and I'm fed up and others are also fed up. So they say, you know what? Fuck it. We're now going to not allow any Muslim into the country because the few that were not so good to us, or that rape some kids or cover their faces or whatever, the few that we don't like have now tarnished all of them. That's not a proper way to legislate.
Absolutely.
But it's a human way to legislate,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
And that's where nationalism comes in, because when you have
I
that
agree.
emotion, which you're talking about,
agree.
when you have that emotion and that prejudice,
So that's
that
what I
becomes-
said.
turns
If
into
nationalism,
then you have an evil
No,
force.
but if nationalism is done right,
if done right,
then we can have balance. Balance is what we all need. Balance it fixes the problems that Dominic is worried about, and balance also fixes the problem that you're worried about. You let people in, but you let them in at a pace that works. And you let your police, you let your law, your judicial system deal with those people who fall through the cracks and aren't the right people to bring into your country.
I agree with everything you said.
But you can't overwhelm all these
So
people.
immigration reform, legal reform,
Yes, all of that.
probationary periods.
All of that stuff has to be
Yes.
done with
Very good.
intelligence.
Sponsorship.
All of that stuff, everything. If you have a family that wants to bring in other family members and they all have jobs and
We're good.
please
We're good.
bring
We're
in
good.
more like you.
We're
We need immigration. North Americans need immigration.
All guys, I agree with everything that you said. Congratulations on how you put it all together.
So elect me and we all win.
Vote no right.
Would never happen.
Quebec C. The everything that I'm just where I really take a stand is when we start the conversation from a point from a place of hate. That's where I take a stand.
Okay, like I said,
And there's too much of that.
Listen, we all agree around this table, and even Dominic, I'm sure, will agree that if you do things intelligently, because he also agrees with immigration, he just
course.
doesn't want shit to
He
come
doesn't
into
agree.
the
He doesn't
country.
agree with refugees. Totally. Or am I wrong?
With refugees that are here because of economic situations.
Okay.
So he's not like you guys. We all agree around this table. It's just that we're all talking past one another.
We're not talking past one another.
Yes, we are, because you're saying he doesn't.
We cleared it up. I'm fine. We cleared it up.
We were all refugees.
No, he doesn't. Listen,
Yeah, he does.
If people, I'm just saying that's the way we're talking about laws. We're talking about the way the system, making sure that the system is properly executed.
Okay, let me ask a pointed question. If a refugee is here only for economic reasons,
No,
should he?
they're not. They're not. But they have it. But we have due process. They're entitled to their hearing.
Wait. You just you're talking past one another. The fundamental.
Yes.
You agree fundamentally that economic refugees should not be allowed into this country.
Correct. I do agree to that.
That's it. Stop. Full point. Don't say.
It doesn't stop there, because there's another important point to this.
No, your point is that there's a process.
Due process.
Fuck the due process.
Well, that's it. He doesn't believe in that, and I'm saying you can't. turn your back to due process.
It's not because he doesn't believe in it. It's because it's failed. That's what he's saying, and that's what you need.
Right.
That's the part that you guys don't agree with.
I think what I hear Dominic saying is that the process is severely flawed.
Yeah.
That's it.
We have all these.
And you're saying there's a process. We have to respect the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say,
Exactly.
All these useless immigration
you're not
lawyers.
talking about the same thing.
Listen to him. He's talking about useless. Okay, just be clear about this.
Okay.
Do you
Take the hyperbole off the table.
Can I ask
both
a simple
of you.
question?
No, both of you.
No, I'm not.
Both of you.
All I'm saying is
What Pat said is 100% correct.
Right. So just very simple question. If you have an unqualified refugee that comes here and has made a claim, what is it? What do you think should be done?
It takes years.
Okay.
Years.
So what do you think should be done?
We've lost track of 250.
It's not efficient. So what do you think should be done?
Fix the system.
As soon as they come here, first of all, you do that claim back home, like everybody else.
You don't just show up here.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's the way it works. I don't think you can put a refugee claim from overseas.
So, okay, we can talk about
through the consulate.
Hold on, guys.
No,
Part of the issue, we just finished agreeing that the whole friggin' system needs to be reformed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can keep talking about how things currently work. What we know is how things currently work
Don't work.
don't work. It's ineffective and inefficient.
Okay, guys, we agree that we agree on due process.
So we all agreed.
We agree on due process. And we agree the process has to be reformed.
So perhaps
all right.
until you have the opportunity to reform the process,
Yeah, you got to stop it.
moratorium.
Aki, how did your parents come to Canada? They put back home. They
As immigrants, as immigrants, not
there
refugees.
There you go.
As immigrants,
But there's these are completely two different streams.
Refugees. I don't believe in that term.
Well, there you go. Okay, he doesn't believe in that term. Do you believe in that term?
Again, it depends on
There's
the
very
situation.
Few. There's very few.
But listen, Dominic, it depends on the situation, right?
Okay,
if
like
you
what?
had a system that worked, if you had if you had a due process that actually worked, that does exactly what you said, that follows people, that makes sure these people are followed.
The law is enforced.
Right.
But we don't have the capacity to do that. So to your point, stop until you get that capacity.
What percentage do you think of refugees is economic?
Again, we all agreed around this table. This is why we keep talking past one another. We all agree, all four of us, that economic refugees, zero. You don't let any of them in. Now, to your point, there's
By the
probably...
way, I think Tom Petty's on our side too.
Who's Tom Petty?
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Really? What did he say?
You don't have
2 out of 3.
Like a refugee.
Oh, okay. I don't know these songs.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay. You knocked me off my thought. But to your point, and to everyone around this table, we all agree economic refugees, zero. That's not happening now, and that needs to be fixed, right? So it's amazing, from far left to far right, we all agree, but nothing's being done.
So can I just go on a little tangent?
Of course.
Thank you. Interesting though about it.
You're going on a tangent?
Yeah, I know.
No, come on.
Get a grip. Get a grip.
I have one right now.
So doesn't that tell you? I mean, when we worry about integration. My argument would be that economic refugees are exactly the type of people who are the most motivated. Who are the most motivated to assimilate because they want to have a better life and they want economic success and material success. They chase after the American dream. No, you don't think that's it?
No, because there's no reason for them to assimilate. Yeah. Okay, that's the problem.
If you want to be a successful business person, if you want to make money.
No. What you're saying is someone who tried to make money in their country but failed because of the system of that country.
No.
Now wants to come here and make money here.
No.
Wait. Let me just finish my thought.
Okay.
You said something. Let me say the response. What you're talking about is someone who's hardworking in their country that failed because the system in their country didn't allow them, and now they want to come here and be hardworking, and that's what you're trying to describe. What he's saying is people are using that as an excuse to come into the country and do fuck all and live off the teat of the current governments here.
But it doesn't matter. What I'm saying,
it's not working.
But Aki just said it's because he does believe economic refugees are legit.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was your way out.
I'm just addressing. No, I said it's a tangent. Let me be very clear.
Okay.
I said it's a tangent.
So we don't agree
and
with
if we have on the table, on a table a conclusion that says they're not these people just don't want to integrate.
They
don't want to assimilate.
It's too
I'm
easy,
saying if you take an economic angle to this, I think it's a different profile and it's a different attitude.
Especially Canada, where you get so much.
Stop coming back to Canada.
Because of the free money.
Okay. Let's forget Canada.
Yeah.
You agree with what I just said?
I wish I could.
No, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong.
I'm asking Pat.
I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to get a sense of where I stand on this issue.
Yeah.
Is there a relationship between poverty and crime?
Oh,
of course there is, but that's not a fair. That's not a fair statement.
Yes, it is.
First of all, it was a question. First of all, it's not a statement. It was a question.
1,000%.
I may make a statement.
Okay.
So
is there a relationship?
In theory, yes.
Not in theory, in practice. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's move on.
Okay.
Well, you just answered the question.
Given the rise in poverty levels, and by the way, that's a trend that's likely to continue in Western civilization for a number of years to come.
Oh.
Yep.
I don't think it's unstoppable.
It's not surprising to see that crime rates are on the rise.
Okay.
And you're going to bring in more poor people.
So is it not a priority, and I'm coming back to nationalism now, is it not a priority to deal with rising poverty levels and rising crime levels domestically?
Absolutely.
Before adding to the problem?
Absolutely.
Or finding a way to address the problem?
Before adding to the problem.
Guys, that's not the way it works. We have to,
But we're seeing the results.
It's a fluid system. As a society, first of all, let me just say this point. As a society, of course, we should be addressing crime. We should be addressing our problems and improving our community. That goes on all the time. You can't just say immigration grinds to zero because my system is not 100% where I want it to be.
Stop for 1 second and back ourselves up a little bit. We all agree that immigration levels need to be at a pace that you can assimilate the people. Yes. What we're saying is that for the past several years, it's been more than any country can assimilate because there's too many people, whether it be asylum seekers, refugees, or immigrants. It's been too much for the assimilation to take place. So stop saying we have other things. Stop muddying the waters. The fact is that there's too many people that have come in, and we need to figure out the policies required to bring people in intelligently so that we don't have other issues or exacerbate the issues that are already in these countries.
The keyword there is intelligence.
Okay,
that's all we're saying.
Okay, so just take it to the next level. So you would recommend what? That we put a complete stop on all immigration.
On certain types of immigration.
A pause? Like what, how do you see us moving forward?
Until you need to reform the system. You need to make sure that the system works properly.
Agree. Okay, so what's the next step?
No, but you say immigrate, not all immigration. There are immigrants who come into any country
legally.
With not only legally, but with the means to invest.
Exactly.
And contribute economically.
Yeah, remember Trump's $5 million gold card?
Why would you prevent those people from coming in?
Yeah. They put on their back home. They
Okay.
put in a
So
request.
I see. Okay. So I suppose.
So economically
we get to-
speaking, they're additive to your
Yeah,
country.
so we get of course. So what we're talking about is two classes of people. The people that have the means, they're more positive.
Aki,
They're better for our society.
what part of putting together a framework that can assimilate people properly do you not agree with?
I agree with
We're
that.
just saying instead of 1 million people, take in 10,000 people.
I agree with that.
There's
I-
an
I agree with that.
affordability issue. There's an assimilation issue.
Yes.
There's an affordability
Absolutely.
issue.
Okay.
How much money is our technically bankrupt government spending
Yeah.
on newly landed immigrants?
Very small proportion of a budget.
Aki, if things were working, we wouldn't be where we are today having this
okay. I
discussion.
don't wanna-
You got to stop for 1 second and say, fucking shit has not worked. And because it has not worked, we need to fix it. So until you fix it, don't keep bringing more people in that you can't assimilate.
Okay, so
That's all
you're-
we're saying.
Look, you're repeating. I'm not questioning that.
Yeah, but because you're
trying to
questioning
bring you,
something,
I'm trying
what are
to
you
bring
questioning?
I'm trying to bring you to the next step, and
Which
I'm
is
saying,
what?
what is that going to look like?
Pause and fix.
Pause and fix. So pause. Define the pause.
Okay, you pause your refugee claimants, your asylum seekers
For how long?
for as long as it takes to fix the system. Hey,
Okay.
listen, if it takes 6 months, if it takes a year, okay, so you didn't bring in those extra 50,000 people. Fuck it. It's okay. Those
Okay.
50,000 people
Okay.
can go someplace else for now until you fix your fucking system.
Okay, but,
what's wrong with fixing the system?
Because unfortunately,
Well, no,
there's
I wanna
obligations
answer
to
this
go
question.
along with
What's
that.
wrong with fixing the system?
Yeah.
Is that-
Obligations to
is
go
that
along with that.
ultimately, government is going to have to fix it, and they've proven that.
And Nuran, I want to bring in
That's a long shot.
another.
Jesus Christ, fix the system.
No,
I want immigration too. I'm an immigrant. I was born in another fucking country.
Why are you getting upset?
Well, because
Why-
because you're arguing against something
crank it
that's
down.
so.
I'm not. I'm not.
It's his passion, Aki.
And I'm
passion.
gonna-
Yeah, I'm passionate about the way I think.
which I can relate to.
And I'm going to bring in
This is-
another element of immigration. Immigration has to have a good mix. Can't be all from Muslim countries.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly.
Well,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not. It's not.
Well, it is.
No, it's not. You look at the statistics.
You got lots of
we have
Sikhs
more
in here,
immigrants
too.
from
It is.
China. We have more immigrants from China
No, we
and the
don't.
Philippines than we do from
Not
the
China,
Arab world.
Not China.
Look at the statistics.
I guarantee you.
Let those Asian women in. That's what I say.
Mix. You need a good mix.
Okay, guys, we should probably
I'm
wrap
done.
it up.
I know words.
You're not exhausted, are you?
I'm sweating.
People want to see you sweat. Come on.
Okay, here are my pits.
You can take off your top.
I know words.
I don't want to turn you on.
It's very popular with the viewers, I understand.
I don't think Zelensky here would get turned on.
So do we think we can bring it back to
Slavo pain.
nationalism?
Yeah.
Guys, nationalism, if I may,
Nationalism.
nationalism is good when it's done in an intelligent way, in a way that's not racist, as long as you're trying to make your country a better place for the people that are already there and for the new people that are coming in, and you can assimilate the amount of people, the immigrants, the asylum seekers, the refugees. If you can do this in an intelligent way, then you win. Then it's a win for everyone, globally.
I'll take effective and productive.
Yeah. I think nationalism is a necessary defense mechanism.
Defense. Interesting.
Yeah.
And
I think nationalism most of the time has turned into a monstrous ideology, and I think one of the big exceptions to that, and that was a role model for decent nationalism, was the U.S. pre-Trump.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if recent history would be on your side with that one.
That's the pre-Trump.
I do agree with you that taken to extremes, nationalism can be dark, ugly, and
But done correctly.
undesirable, but done effectively and productively, I can see where it can have huge benefits.
Yeah.
Vive le Québec libre.
Anything but.
Anything
On that
Well,
note.
that's the other point of it, is like nationalism, mind your own business.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, viewers, listeners, love to have you weigh in on this topic.
Yep.
Let us know what you think. Appreciate your comments always. And Romeos, thanks for the conversation. Looking
you.
forward to doing it again next week.
Good day,
That's
guys.
good.